Here we go. Good morning. I am Jenna Winters with the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, Division of Parks and Watercraft. So happy to have you here this morning. This is our fourth and final installment of our Bigfoot series. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. We sure have. Please join us next week. We're going to be talking about waterfowl, and the series will continue in May, talking about wildflowers and all kinds of good stuff up on deck. So make sure to check our Facebook page for announcements there. Up at the corner of your screen, you should have a question and answer box. If you have any questions for John as he's doing his presentation, please feel free to type them in there and we will ask him as we go along. So without further ado, let me introduce John Hickenbottom, our naturalist from Salt Fork. Take it away, John.
All right. Hi everyone. So today's a little different. I just want to start out by saying thanks for everybody viewing the previous Bigfoot webinars. This is kind of the fourth and final one for that series. I got a lot of great feedback from it. You've all been awesome. The webinars that are posted on our YouTube page, on our YouTube channel, has gotten a lot of great feedback and a lot of great comments. Apparently people are a big fan of my mustache, so that's nice. That seems to be a big topic that comes up in the comments. This webinar is a little different from the last ones. The last ones were kind of structured in a way that I had a PowerPoint and went through, kind of broke down details and things. And we started out with the Bigfoot stories and moved on to the evidence, and then moved on to the people that look for Bigfoot and the people that hunt for Bigfoot, kind of throughout history. And now we were originally going to try to do a live stream, but complications with weather and mobile service and things like that kind of put a hiccup in that. So I did a little Bigfoot hunt the other night and recorded it, and we'll play that video shortly, hopefully. And then I'm going to have some guests come in. I have two local researchers who do this all the time. One has been doing it for a very long time, and the other one is kind of still doing it. He's like he's a more current researcher, and I'm going to ask them questions. They're going to talk a little bit about what they do and how they do it. The video is not very long. I want to also preface this video with saying I'm going on 4 weeks, and I mentioned this in the video, but I'm going on 4 weeks of basically eating, breathing, and sleeping Bigfoot. So I wish I could say it didn't get me a little spooky out there, but you know, it was hard after 4 weeks of watching Bigfoot documentaries. It's hard not to hear every twig snap and every sound in the woods and not think that it's a Bigfoot. I did have like a little bit of weirdness happen. At one point there was I actually got to record a tree knock, which was pretty distinctive. We've talked about that in the evidence portion of the webinars. An actual audible knock, sounding like two pieces of wood getting hit together. I have it on the video, so that was interesting. Also something that I can't, readily explain away. It wasn't a woodpecker. I'm pretty familiar with woodpeckers and things like that. So hopefully that translates in the video. My face is kind of shocked in the video because I was kind of mid-sentence and this thing happened. Other than that, during the video, and I think I mentioned it, I did get I did have a point where there was a really terrible smell. Everything got kind of quiet, and I got a really awful smell. Now, I'm not saying it was Sasquatch, obviously, because it could be just about anything out in the woods, but it was an experience, and that's kind of what this was about. Was I wanted to share with you, the experience and what it's like to be out there doing things, and hopefully you learn a little something about nature along the way. I don't know if I've emphasized this in the previous webinars enough, but since this is kind of the final one, the Bigfoot thing and the Sasquatch thing, it's a lot of fun, but it's also, first and foremost, to me at least, it's a conservation movement and an environmental movement. That's first and foremost. It's important to me in that respect, because it's not a it is a lot of fun, and it's a great way to get involved. It's a wonderful community to be involved in. But to me, it's also, it's an environmental movement. I actually, last week, I had the opportunity to talk to the one of the guys with the Olympic project that I'd mentioned in the previous webinars, and he agreed with me in that it is an environmental movement and a conservation movement. So I'm trying to approach it that way, and hopefully that translates. So we will try to share this video. Jenna, if you're still on, do we want to try this again with the video?
Sure. See if you can get it to.
All right.
Hit your share button, and we'll see what comes up. I know the videos have been kind of tricky in the past.
All right. I'm working on it now. Maybe it will share through my laptop if we are lucky. I also don't necessarily want to apologize. I think it turned out pretty well. I'm relatively new at the the photo editing stuff that we have, and I'm also not a cinematographer, so it's not a masterpiece of cinematography by any stretch of the imagination, but I did my best, and I hope that it is enjoyable and at least makes sense. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open the share tray and see. Jenna, are you able to see my screen yet?
Not yet, John. Oh, now there it is, John.
You can see it?
I have your desktop. Yep.
Perfect. We are moving along then. Everybody, you have to understand, this is a process for all of us. This has been a learning process. You went from a bunch of people going out and watching birds and playing in the dirt to moving to completely digital formats. So it's been a process. Okay, so without further ado, again, not a masterpiece of cinema, but it's certainly something. This was my experience out at Salt Fork State Park group camp. So I will hopefully attempt to play this. I'm not sure why it's not playing or giving me the option to play.
Hit the triangle in the center.
Oh, yeah, it just came up. Got it. Perfect.
Okay.
Ready? All right.
Yeah. John, I don't think we've got the sound, and stop sharing for a moment.
Okay.
When it comes up to share, there should be a button over the left that says include system audio.
Correct.
So I'm going to go ahead and put you back up so we can kind of.
All right. Well, I apologize. Okay, so do you want me to start sharing again?
Yes, and I said there should be on your screen something that says share system audio.
Excellent. Got it. Okay. Now sharing system audio. Perfect. Again, I apologize. This has been a process for everybody.
Good.
All right, we will start one more time.
Try it again.
Okay.
All right, everyone. I'm out here at the Salt Fork State Park Group Camp. This area is for special organized groups, scout groups, youth groups, things like that. I'm out here for this because this area has been closed, during the winter. And there hasn't been a ton of human activity. So this is where we set up Bigfoot Base Camp. Try to see what we can see. So just a quick rundown. I'm trying to be as open-minded and honest about this as possible. I've been doing just a ridiculous amount of research over the last 4 weeks, literally eating, sleeping, and breathing this stuff. Man, I've got a lot in my head right now. So hopefully something interesting happens. I'm not going to attribute everything to Sasquatch, but if I'm having some weird experience, I'm going to be as honest as possible with you about it. And man, we couldn't have asked for a better day. It's beautiful out. It's sunny. There are peepers and red-shouldered hawks calling everywhere. It's a wonderful day. Possible to eliminate interference with, a raccoon or deer or something like that.
John, can you unmute your device, please?
Off of 4 weeks of solid Bigfooting here. I'm trying to keep my eyes and ears, nose for that matter, open. I'm trying to be as quiet as possible. I keep thinking a lot of reports talk about how curious these animals are about humans and how they often like to interact with humans, or they at least approach humans as quietly as possible.
Is it something out there?
I'm thinking, there's apples and new smells and new sounds. Maybe something's watching you. Then again, maybe it's a deer. We don't know. That's why I'm out here. Could very well have been a deer or something else. So in addition to the apples, I'm also going to be leaving eggs. I've got about half a dozen eggs I'll be leaving out here. There are a lot of reports from the American South and rural areas of Bigfoot or Sasquatch raiding chicken coops. I don't blame them. they're like the ultimate power food. They're like a protein envelope. You know, they're self-contained. They're wonderful. This one's very fresh. It's unwashed. So we'll leave these here also, and hopefully something will enjoy them. They should. These are excellent eggs. They're from Happy Chickens. So another thing that I've been doing is I've been finding little rocks, and I'm kind of, I don't know if you can see this, kind of setting them, I've been setting them on branches. I'll set an apple here too, and I just kind of want to see if these get moved. We'll see. I will say I was out, well, I went out for about an hour, and I didn't want to.
Okay, can you still hear me, Jenna? Everybody still hear me over
Yes.
top of this? Okay, so this portion, I was kind of doing, I was kind of talking about something else, and I ended up cutting out this portion of the video because something more interesting than what I was aimlessly talking about happened. I mentioned the tree knocks during one of the previous webinars as audio evidence and a possible like territorial, you know, like audible thing. And as I'm talking here, off in the distance, you can hear, and I've actually increased the volume. There's two clips. I managed to isolate the portion and increase the volume on it. So you can actually hear, as I'm talking in this clip, off in the distance, a really audible pop. Now my fire is kind of crackling, so you can hear that, but you'll hear it. So just pay close attention, because this is actually the first time this has legitimately happened to me, that I've had any sort of real, you know, anything noteworthy, at least, on here. So I'm happy that I got it on the video. I will also say the location that I was at would be really difficult for someone else to get to without me seeing them. I was kind of in a position like they would pretty much have to either paddle or use a boat to get up to the lake to access the portion, like get off the lake and onto this side of the lake to get to the location that I was at. And it came from a pretty densely wooded area. So I'll hit play and then listen in the background as I'm talking.
And I didn't want to record because I kind of wanted to focus. I brought my phone with me just in case I needed to, you know, snap a picture, an emergency or anything like that. As I was walking back from where I went out, everything got really quiet at one point. All of the birds, all of, you know, insect noises, all the peepers kind of just shut up for a second. And shortly after that, I noticed a really terrible smell. Again, I'm going on 4 weeks of just nothing but Sasquatch here. So is it my mind associating the smell and the quiet with a Bigfoot experience? I don't know. Was it something out there? I don't know. It was an experience. That's the best that I can say right now.
Hey, John, I'm sending you live for a minute. Let's relaunch the video because it seems to have frozen up.
Oh no.
So you're live at the moment, but let's just send it again.
Okay. All right. Well, that is a shame. Is it working now, Jenna?
Should be. Hit play.
Okay.
We don't have the video again. One more time.
Oh, man. Well, my Bigfoot folks are here. So should we have to, we can skip the rest of the video and talk to them, but we will try
Okay,
one more
just
time.
make sure you hit the audio,
Okay.
share audio button. We'll just give it one more shot. It's
One
a
more
great
shot.
video.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Again, not a cinematographer.
No,
Only
you did a great
really,
job. I'm gonna say just make sure you hit the share audio button and we should be good again.
only really learned how to use that editing software like days prior to this. So I appreciate it, Jenna.
Was it something out there? I don't.
Oh no.
Hit play again because we had it.
Yeah, it looks like it's loading on my end.
No, it was an experience. That's the best thing I can say right now. What I can say right now. So it's a little after 9, and it's a beautiful, clear night so far. Stars are out. It's gotten a little chilly, but nothing too bad. Now, I don't know if it will pick up on here, but there are some coyotes calling behind me, which is great. I love coyotes. I love listening to them. I love watching them. Fantastic animals. So coyotes have a long tradition with indigenous cultures in North America of being cast in the role of trickster gods. They're these sort of literally wily trickster gods, and they're often depicted that way. So if you will remember from the first webinar, many indigenous cultures in North America also cast Bigfoot or Sasquatch in kind of a trickster fashion. So I think those two things are kind of go hand in hand. Regardless, I mean, I'm not hearing Sasquatch right now. I'm hearing coyotes, so I might as well talk about it. However, many researchers hypothesize that Bigfoot is actually a mimic, and for whatever reason, be it to lure in prey, to lure in food, or to communicate in a covert manner, they will mimic the sounds of other animals. Again, I don't think that it's Bigfoot calling behind me. I think there is a small pack of coyotes. But if Bigfoot is a mimic, I'm guessing that he's unaware that naturalists are also mimics. So just to be on the safe side, I think I'm going to maybe try to convince whatever it is that I am a screech owl. And if we're lucky, maybe we'll get a screech owl call back. Okay, so I'm going to try to get a couple hours of sleep, but before I do, I'm going to try to elicit a response from something with a pretty well-known recording I've talked about in the previous webinars, the Ohio recorded in Columbiana County. So I've got it hooked up to a Bluetooth speaker. I'm going to project it off into the woods and see if anything calls back. Oh, we got a barn owl calling behind us. It's really upsetting the bark owl. Alright, I'm going to try to get a couple hours of sleep, and then I'll be up around 2 or 2:30 to make another short video, see if anything's happening then.
So I ended up not being able to because literally all of my electronics.
Alright, so the apples are undisturbed. This is the trail camera area. The interesting thing though is the chicken parts that are here that I left are they're not on. They've definitely been not on. Yep. Some of it got drug over here. So something was here. I'm going to be very interested. You can actually see there's a pretty good game trail. I'm guessing it's a smaller critter, maybe a possum. But you can actually see its path right there, right up to where we had the chicken. So there's one of our trail cameras. There's the other with the apple on it. You can see so that's undisturbed. We're gonna go over to where our eggs and the other apples are in Watercraft and see what it looks like. Maybe there will be something interesting there.
So
the eggs are undisturbed. The only thing that appears to be
the cameras picked up some turkey vultures at 7 a.m. and that's the only thing they recorded. So I had some sort of malfunction with both the trail cameras. Not sure about that. Otherwise, I would have included it.
Disturbed. This is fascinating. One of our apples has been chewed on. So looks like that's about the only thing that's been changed here. There does not appear to be anything caught in our hair snare, in our hair trap.
All right, so that was kind of the whole experience right there. It was interesting. We had some technical difficulties with the trail cameras. Not entirely sure why, but I would have included it had we got anything other than one turkey vulture kind of looking half-heartedly at the chicken. But also didn't, once I actually got the hair trap down, that was about 6.5 feet up. So I kind of had to hold the iPad up. So after I got it down, there was nothing in there except some bugs that found the bait. So now that you have all seen that, that was kind of that was my first solo overnight Bigfoot hunt, first time ever where I've been out by myself. So, I will admit that it got at one point, got a little spooky out there, at least for me. So without any more to do, I'm going to attempt to talk to our two Bigfoot folks that we have here. And I'm going to use Jenna, I'm going to transfer to the iPad. So should go live.
Okay. Sometimes it can take a minute for the feed to catch up.
All right, so can everybody see me? Hear me all right?
Just 1 second, John. It just came up, so I'm sending you live. There you are.
Excellent. So I'm going to turn the camera around and introduce two of our local researchers. So we've got, this is the man you've all heard so much about, virtually every webinar he has contributed to in some fashion. This is Dave Wickham, affectionately known as Taters. Taters, do you want to give us a rundown on who you are and how you got involved at the park?
Yeah, basically I grew up in the area. I'm a physical therapist, been doing it for about 30 years, and grew up in the area just down the road in Guernsey County. My junior prom was actually at the Salt Fork Lodge. Grew up reading newspapers about some crazy guy in Newcomerstown that was having Bigfoot meetings and was trying to get my dad to take me to him, and he just said no, he wasn't going to deal with that. So, you grow up, you have a life, and after Finding Bigfoot came on and got interested, I started hanging out with the Bigfoot circles, and finally started finding an area of research, which was Salt Fork. I had multiple friends that we've come down, groups that we've been with to research the area, and the circles kind of tighten up, and lo and behold, I got a chance to meet the guy that was having those Bigfoot meetings and started sharing information with him, and it's kind of building on what some of the things that he's built and done in the past, and that sometimes is what's gratifying, because your hard work, you go out and you take notes and you review the information, and then when you get resources like Don Keating's information on Salt Fork, and then you compare that to what you know and what you're working on, you start finding patterns or things that are very similar. And having an opportunity to have a resource like him to answer questions and pose questions, it's been the funnest part. But a lot of good research still in Salt Fork. I want to encourage people to get out in the woods, know nature, get a good breather, and get your lungs fill good air. Encourage people to read books. It's not just getting out in the woods, but it's also doing some homework and getting in an area that you know, and find out if there's any research in books that have been written about that area, so you can learn more about the history. But also learning about nature, listening to owl sounds and coyote sounds, and learning what different prints and nature signs, trees and such that are food sources, and utilizing the maps in the park. The other part is that Salt Fork has been a mecca for Bigfooting, but I think it's a symbiotic relationship where researchers are welcome down here. The lodge, the rangers, they understand what we're doing, and as long as you're respectful and follow the rules and laws, they're actually appreciative that you're here. And there's a lot of groups of individuals come down here and research, but I still think there's nice little areas that are worth the time and effort to put in.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Taters. And we'll get a chance to talk to both of you guys more. But with that, I'm going to introduce Don Keating. And I mentioned him in our local legends. He's like the definition of our local legend. He was there when it all started here in our area, at least. So Don, if you'd like to give us a little rundown on yourself and how you started with researching Sasquatch and the Grassman phenomena in the area, that'd be awesome.
Well, back in 1984, I picked up John Green's book, Sasquatch, the Apes Among Us, and read it. Contacted John about the book, never imagining that anything like that was in Ohio, let alone the Tri-County area, Tuscarawas, Guernsey, Coshocton counties. And as fate would have it, I guess you could say, in August of '84, there was a newspaper article about strange, unusual animals being seen in the New Cumberstown area. One of them was a large mountain lion type animal. One of them was a large exotic bird type flying around the area. And the third was a 7 to 8 foot tall, dark brown or black hair covered creature seen on the other side of the Tuscarawas River on the south side of New Cumberstown by the New Cumberstown substation. That led to us discovering some incidents at Salt Fork State Park. One thing led to another. Very long, condensed story short. Salt Fork has had a history of sightings and track discoveries from as early as 1972 until, I suppose, within the past year. I haven't really been actively researching for the past several years. I've kind of set it aside. But Salt Fork is definitely a hotbed. If it wasn't, or if it isn't now, it was years ago, as far as sightings and track discoveries are concerned. I've interviewed dozens of people who claim to have had sightings and track discoveries in Salt Fork State Park. The volume of material that has come out of here is just mind-boggling. For Salt Fork is one of the largest state parks in Ohio, but for the amount of material that has come out of here, it's all based upon the persistence of researchers such as myself and David, getting out there in the public eye, holding the meetings here, holding the conferences here, and of course, being on the History Channel as Monster Quest, being on the Today Show with Kathy Lee Gifford and Hoda Gottlieb, coming out here to do an episode in 2008. A film crew flying all the way up here for one of my conferences from New Zealand to do an episode. That kind of stuff doesn't hurt, I'm sure, because it gets the general public more tuned in with what's happening in this area. And more people will say, hey, I may not have been so crazy to think that I saw one of these creatures cross the road in front of me. So they'll contact someone about their encounter at Salt Fork.
All right, thanks, Don. So if there aren't any questions to get to right now, Jenna, is there anything pressing that I need to answer in the chat right now?
So far, no, John.
Okay, real quick, I'm going to ask these guys some questions involving Bigfoot and Bigfoot hunting and Bigfoot encounters. And it's great that we have both of them because we kind of have, the old guard and the new guard both in the same room. So finding correlations between experiences is definitely fascinating. So if and either of you can jump in and answer this, but if say someone has an experience, we've got a park visitor that is driving through the park in the middle of the night, and something runs across the road in front of them, and through whatever network they find, they contact either of you. What's the first step that you take in collecting a report? We talk about these reports in all my webinars, my previous webinars. I keep referring to reports. What's the first step that you take in collecting that information? Don?
talk to the eyewitness in person if at all possible. Have them take you to the exact location that they were at and have them show you step by step exactly everything that happened. The most important thing that I try to emphasize to researchers, do not, under any circumstance, lead the witness. Let that person sell you on what they claim to have seen. Don't ask them pointed questions. You want them to tell you exactly everything that happened from step A to step Z without planting any ideas into their mind. I mean, you could say, for instance, well, if it looked at you, did it have red glowing eyes? Well, yeah, it kind of did now that you mention it. Bad idea. Don't want to do that. Well, I've talked to eyewitnesses when they see something, if I can get in touch with them, if they can meet me at the location, document everything on videotape and document everything in photographs. You don't have the print film anymore that you have to worry about 35 cents being flushed down the toilet if you have a print photo that doesn't come out. Photos, video. Just document it as much as possible, along with an interview with them if they'll grant you, the interview on audio or videotape. But the one thing you want to emphasize to that person as much as possible is, look, your name is held in the strictest of confidentiality. You will not be made fun of. We're not going to publicize this, nothing like that. We want the information so that we can compare this report to this report to this report and see what type of correlation or similarities there are with other reports that have come out of the area. Plain and simple.
Oh, excellent. Thank you, Don. Dave, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I would add just the personal touch. You can do it on the phone, but that's not like seeing someone face to face, watching their body language, facial expressions, taking notes. I always carry a tablet when I'm out in the woods. If I have something to write down, I jot it down so I can look at it and talk about it later. And then, unfortunately, I kind of put in a little slide. I might say, well, I might interject maybe a falsehood or something that they didn't say, and see if they bite on that. If they no, I didn't say that. So you're kind of validating their experience and seeing if they're going to bite to, because a lot of people like to be publicized or have their name out. And nowadays, so you're trying to find out the honesty of their encounter.
That's excellent, and I do like that from, at least from my standpoint, approaching it with an element of skepticism. Rather than, I mean, it's been my experience. I've listened to a lot of podcasts and a lot of things over the past month researching these webinars, and many of them are really just trying to convince you that there's something that, out there. Like there really are. It's a hard sell. And I think that, last week I had Laura Krantz on, and I think part of the reason why I appreciated her podcast is because she wasn't really trying to sell it. She was laying out the facts, and I always appreciated an element of skepticism. So, as I showed in the video, I had a small experience out there, along with some strange noises that I was unable to collect on recording. That is about the closest thing to an actual real experience that I've had here at the park, and I've grown up here. I literally learned how to swim in this lake, so it's been a long time coming. I think if anything comes to your mind, what would be your first quintessential experience? If you've ever had anything, what would be like the quintessential experience that you would point to if this was the one time that you had to describe an experience out here? What was what's one thing that would come to mind?
How long do you have?
Well, honestly, we've got about 10 minutes.
There have been so many things. I'll try to describe one here shortly, but let me get back to the audio recording that you played earlier. And I whispered in David's ear earlier, I said, I don't think that's a wood knock.
No?
I think what happened was, to me, this is what it sounds like. I could be wrong. Obviously, I wasn't there, didn't experience it with you, but and I'm not saying it's a common thing. I think it's very uncommon. We've had it happen to us once before, and it scared the what out of us. I think what happened was someone or something threw something at you, hit a tree, bounced off the tree, and bounced into the foliage twice. That's what you hear. The first sound that you heard was, in my opinion, a very large rock, not basketball size or anything, but a large rock that was thrown in your direction and hit a tree. That's what the first smack is that you hear. And then you hear a couple of other ones that are softer sounds. That's possibly, in my opinion, the rock, theoretically, hypothetically, hitting the tree, bouncing off the tree, hitting the ground, and bouncing twice. In my opinion, that's what you're
That's
recording.
fascinating. I'd love to review it if you've got a chance after the webinar. I'd love to review it more with you.
Now, as far as the experiences are concerned, I mean, I've caught a glimpse of something once or twice in the field. Once was out near the Guernsey, Tuscarawas, South Carolina, south of Cooperstown. Once was in November of '87 out in the Woodbury, or out in the Columbus and Southern Cool Lands area in central Coshocton County. I've seen dozens, if not hundreds, of alleged tracks in the ground. And way back, and I think it was us, myself, and a couple of other guys who first started talking about wood knocking back on December 30th of '89 in Coshocton County, off of County Road 6. It was a foggy evening. There was 6 inches of snow on the ground. We had followed this one trail a certain distance to see if we could find any tracks. We couldn't find any, so we turned around to head back to the cars because it was getting very dark. And off to our left, up into the woods, way back over a hill in an area where we called the Three Lakes region because there were 3 small ponds. We used made up different names for reference. We heard what can only be described as 3 knocks of somebody taking a baseball bat and hitting a tree very violently.
Wow, that's great.
And the interesting thing about that is because it was 3 knocks and there were 3 of us.
Whoa, okay. That, I've heard other theories. Other researchers have noticed like piles of rocks coinciding with the number of people that are out there poking around.
Right.
So real quick, Dave, we've got a couple of minutes, and then I'll have to kind of wrap it up.
Hey, John.
Yes.
Jenna, I need to just jump in for a minute. Lori wants to say hi to our guests, Taters and Don.
Oh, hey.
And she has 2 questions. She wants to know, is Don still actively taking reports? And she asked, can Don talk about the white Bigfoot?
Does that? Are you? If we have to cut it a little short, is that okay? All right.
Very quickly, yes, I'll still take active reports if I'm not available to investigate them at the time. I know people can. I don't know where this nickname Taters came from, but anyway.
Long story.
Maybe it's what he likes to eat, taters. Anyway, and the white Bigfoot, I would imagine she's talking about the video that I shot in August of '92. Long story short, I was out there by myself, nothing better to do. I shot some what they call B-roll footage of a lake. I didn't like the angle I was shooting it at. I repositioned myself. I had the Gold Star video camera on my shoulder, continued to record with it. I stopped momentarily about 300 feet or 100 yards away. There was a very large, very light-colored individual walking down the county road. You can hear the crunching of the gravel underneath its feet and the 4 steps that were captured on video. To this day, no one, to my satisfaction, has been able to tell me what's contained on that videotape. It is a very tall individual because we did analysis work out there in the field like crazy. We even used lasers to see what kind of height, and from where I was standing to where this individual was, it was upslope. And even upslope, it walked past fence posts that we measured that were 48 inches high. And at the angle I was shooting the video, this individual's waist line was above the 48-inch top the fence posts.
Well, that's fascinating. That's fantastic. Well, I hope that answers your question, Lori. And also, hi. Looking forward to doing hikes again. So, Dave, if you have something you can sum up and say, 3 minutes.
I just think, again, if anyone's interested in going out and bigfooting, it doesn't take a lot of skill, it just takes a lot of interest. Take a pen, take a piece of paper, write down what you observe and think about it. Read about it. Then go back to the map and see why something would have happened. Look for water, look for the food availability. check out other websites of local reports that are happening in the area. Try to figure out why an event happened or a witness saw something. Was it traveling? Was it going just across the road because that was the best point for it to cross? But it should be fun. Share the information. Be ready for peer review. If you say it's Bigfoot and someone else says no, don't get offended. You have to do your homework to be able to convince somebody. But enjoy the parks, enjoy the Salt Fork, enjoy the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, different parks around the state.
All right, thanks a lot, Dave. And I'm gonna turn the camera around real quick and do kind of a quick wrap up here. All right. So I really appreciate these guys coming in. I'm really fortunate to have this network. That's one of the great things about Salt Fork is we've got this excellent network of folks doing this research. And like I said, the resources that I had for the previous webinars wouldn't have existed if it weren't for Dave. He's supplied me with so much information. And again, he's so reliable. I can text him if I've got a question that pops into my head at 11 o'clock at night. I text him, and usually I get a few paragraphs back describing what what I needed. So it's been great. And I appreciate all of you who have been viewing these webinars and enjoying them. I'm glad that you're getting so much enjoyment out of them. I know today was a little different. We were supposed to be doing a Bigfoot hike, but the wind is a little rough on the audio, and I was worried about that. So if you're interested in this further, I know a lot of the details that that I've gone over in some of the previous webinars. I've had to gloss over some things. I will be doing a kind of a deep dive Facebook Live event starting hopefully in mid-April on our Salt Fork State Park Facebook page. I'll pick a day and make sure to publicize that and we can actually get lost in the weeds occasionally with that. And I'm hoping to have some folks on and to do a few things like that. But I just want to thank everybody, and now would be a good time. If we have any more questions, Jenna, I can take them now. Any other questions? Are we still there? Did I lose service or anything?
Oh, nope, sorry, it was me.
Oh, no, that's okay.
That was all the questions that we had for today.
All right.
I just want to thank our guests wow, thank you guys so much for taking your time and helping us with this. We really appreciate it. Yeah,
we really do. And I appreciate, again, I wouldn't have been able to do these webinars if it weren't for taters, or I guess I would have been able to do them and they would have been really poorly researched. So, I really want to thank them, and I want to thank everybody of you. I just did a 4-part Bigfoot series for ODNR. Like, this is great. The amount of interest that this generated. If this makes one of you decide to go out in the woods, my job is done. Even if you don't find anything, this is if it makes someone consider conserving and preserving the natural world or learning more about the natural world, my job is done. So I appreciate all of the interest that this has gotten, and I'm hoping to talk about it a little further later on. So thanks, everyone.
All right, thank you so much, John. Be sure to join us same time, same place next week for a talk on waterfowl. I mean, who doesn't love ducks? So see you next week. Thank you.